Hello and welcome everyone. This evening we are rocking a tier 4 destroyer and we'll see how we can go. This is the Jianwei, you know, something like that. Sorry, I'm terrible at pronouncing these ship names. Occasionally struggle with the American ones. Anyway, so this is the Asia Pacific tree of destroyers, and kind of the difference with these destroyers. Smoke screens are usually a little bit better, so that's nice, but the downside is they have these deep water torpedoes, and so when you shoot these torpedoes, they will have kind of a little circle above them instead of a triangle, which you'll see with pretty much any other torpedo that's in the water. And the difference with the deep water torpedoes is you can't hit destroyers. So the nice thing is it's not like something specific of measuring like an actual depth of how deep the ship is. It makes it nice and simple for you. You just can't hit destroyers. You can hit cruisers, battleships, carriers, anything else, just not other destroyers. And it does give you that indicator when you're trying to when you're locked on to a destroyer, and you have torpedo selected. It'll kind of give you a little message. It'll show it in orange and say, you know, cannot hit. The other thing too to look out for is if you're firing towards destroyers, they'll still spot those torpedoes just like anybody else. And give people an early warning. So while you may be lining up a target behind a destroyer is still going to spot those torpedoes. I do believe that there's a slight advantage with the deep water torpedoes. They are a little bit harder for the enemy team to spot, so you get that little bit of a perk. But other than that, I kind of don't like them because it kind of rules out your ability to actively fight destroyers on the enemy team. For example, this Geed, I can't shoot torpedoes at him. So I'm stuck with only my guns and my smoke screen. So I use a smoke screen because his airplanes are being really frustrating and spotting me.
Problem solved, sir.
But that makes him go dark as well. We don't have our airplanes over here at this time to spot. And I'm no longer getting the capture on the zone. So everything's a bummer at the moment. So trying to kind of align myself, like turn myself around a little bit here. I'm also trying to keep a very keen eye on where these two smoke screens are, these two enemy smoke screens, and if you look at the map, that's two destroyers right here at the edge of B, so I'm suspecting I will get torpedoes coming my way any moment, especially if I get spotted, so gotta keep that in mind. But basically I want to angle myself a little bit so that if I had to turn around and run, I could, but at the same time I'm kind of broadside to those two destroyers, which you don't want to be in case they are sending torpedoes your way. So typically you point towards them or away from them, and that way you're less likely to take surprise torpedo hits. This was just a gift horse in the mouth here, but their carrier is coming in so close. It's just not something to do. I totally agree with moving your carrier around and keeping your carrier with your, with some support with your team, but man, you do not want to get spotted. So, but he realizes his mistake and starts turning away, and I had already sent my torpedoes at that point, so a little bit of a wasted torpedo shot there. But we do have a battleship out there, so we'll see if we get lucky. And since, of course, I was firing my guns, the Geed everybody's spotting me, and he's probably looking at me too. So I'm keeping an eye on him, trying to move away, trying to resist the urge to shoot again so that I can get unspotted. And there we go, our spotting goes away, just as he gets bullets on us, of course. So we'll use the damage control to put out the fire. Destroyers, the damage con comes back pretty fast, so it would be quite the bummer if I got hit by one of these torpedoes, though. That would probably make me flood. So this is what I was talking about. Since I can't shoot torpedoes at that destroyer, it's kind of giving you an orange highlight with a message cannot hit, so letting you know that it would be a waste, but you can still do it if you want, and people still do. So that's kind of the big key to these destroyers, just kind of knowing what's what. So this Piotr Velky thingy battleship over here, keeping an eye on him. Ideally, if he keeps moving, I'll be able to get torpedo angle on him. And as we get the cap, I'll start moving to make that happen sooner. It looks like he's paying attention to our battleship that's off to the far east on the very edge of the map there. So I'm kind of hoping he's not paying attention to the fact that I might be here as a destroyer and might be shooting torpedoes. So if he maintains course, he'll take those 3. But it'll, of course, always be your luck that they will change course. So keeping that in mind, keeping an eye on him. He's still kind of my best target at this point. I'm not just going to dump him and ignore it. The rest of the team's doing pretty good. We're getting the cap over at A. And that side of the map seems to not have hardly any enemies over by it, so it makes sense that the carrier would head this way. Follow your teammates when you're a carrier. So this is the Russian battleship that we're trying to shoot at here, because I can't pronounce the name, as you heard. But basically I'm going to try and keep taking shots at him. It's not ideal, because he looks like he obviously knows I'm here, so he is changing course quite frequently. But I am noticing that his guns continue to be pointed towards the battleship, our allied battleship on the edge of the map. So kind of taking pot shots at him, trying to see if I can't lure his attention away. There is kind of a little bit of a strategy to being a destroyer and trying to take some fire away from your allies when you can. Obviously you don't have a lot of hit points yourself. But even with a battleship, with how long it takes some of these guys to turn their guns, it's not a bad idea. You just definitely have to be careful with it, because if you're surrounded by enemies, especially cruisers, they're all going to want to shoot you all at once. So since I'm kind of away from most everybody else, no one else seems to be picking on me, I'm taking advantage of that and using my guns and not caring that I get spotted. I am going to set up my smoke screen here, because I can't imagine that my luck will last that long. And better safe than sorry. And with the Asia Pacific destroyers, you get extra smoke screens, so it's kind of a no-brainer to use these as you get them, and it makes the most sense, obviously. So I'd kind of like to get rid of this Dallas, so but my guns aren't quite big enough to do too much to him, but why not start some fires, things like that. Do some damage some modules, you know. Anything is better than nothing. Plus the hits and damage gives us points and XP and credits and all that fun stuff. So we do finally get a hit on the battleship with our torpedoes. First torpedo hits of the game, and it's about time. Kind of debating whether I should even shoot torpedoes here, because I know that this guy's really out here and all my teammates are probably picking on him as well. Plus they just lost the cruiser support off to the east, so I know I don't have to worry about that. But shooting bullets while I'm still in my smoke screen will get us defend medals, and those are always helpful. And somebody else stole the kill from me there, so we will move on with our lives. And there's not too many targets left, so I'm kind of curious what we can do here at Tier 4 with this destroyer. It is kind of nice that they are battleships and they've been hanging back, so obviously battleships are kind of your go-to target when you're a destroyer, for the most part. The game kind of has this very balanced, well, I wouldn't say very balanced, but well-balanced kind of rock, paper, scissors mentality where destroyers are best at killing battleships, battleships are best at killing cruisers, and cruiser ships are best at killing destroyers. So, but there's a little bit of mix and match there. Plus, we want the damage. We want to try and get our damage numbers up, because that's fun, and that makes the game fun to watch too. So Arizona here, he doesn't really have too many. He really doesn't have anybody else to shoot at the moment, so I am not going to risk getting spotted, and I'm not going to fire my guns. I am going to kind of make the assumption that he is going to turn towards us, so that is why I am firing a little bit short of where the recommended torpedo angle and line is. And it looks like we're right, he is turning towards us, and that's just based on the assumption he may want to come in and get the zone cap and may want to get in range of our allies, and also he's probably not going to want to be angled broadside to any of our battleships as well. So turning in just kind of made a lot of sense for him. So that's why I shot short with the torpedoes there. And I was a little overconfident and used both racks of torpedoes, which is probably not recommended. Usually kind of want to save one for reserve, but it works out for us here. We do get 2 torpedo hits, 1 from each rack, luckily there. So and then we did get a flood on him, so he has used his damage control to put that flood out. So a fire, if I can start a fire, that would be great, because then I would get some kind of lasting damage out of him. Now I'm also here making an assumption he's not going to slam into that island, so that's why I fired just to the right of the island. And then I'm going to literally ignore that ship now, because he's not going to be able to shoot me for a little bit, because I know that island's in the way. So we will go for the Hyuga. And I picked on him enough that he wants to kill me. So I see him angling and turning his guns towards me, so that's why I hit the brakes and set up the smoke screen. So we take some hits there, and of course I lied, the Arizona got a hit on us as well. But we are still rocking it. So got the Arizona with that kind of shot that I ignored with those torpedoes after flooding him. And then we're getting a whole bunch of damage on the Hyuga too, so we're pretty much doubled our our damage count here, and we're approaching 100k, and we're only on a tier 4 destroyer here. So this turns out to be a pretty good game. Hyuga's the only one left. My teammates took out the carrier, which is great for them. And we just barely don't break 100k at 98,000. So, but thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I'll keep posting more World of Warships Legends videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks, everybody.